What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Parlay Buddy Show. I'm your host, Malachi David, and we are here with your Week 16 free premium picks. Now, before we get into this week's picks, just want to remind you of all the places you can connect with us here at ParlayBuddy.com. You can find us on social media platforms such as TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, and Twitter. You can head over to YouTube where you'd find this video and many others. Always be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. You can also head over to ParlayBuddy.com. There you'll find a profitability calculator, daily fantasy sports tools powered by StatShark.com. You'll also find other various sports articles, and you'll also find the link to this video. Now, let's get into this week's free premium picks. The first game we're going to look at this week is the Packers versus the Dolphins. The line on this one has been set at 49.5, and on that line we are taking the over. The Packers have hit the over in 7 of their 14 games this year, including 4 of their last 5, and they've scored 3 or more touchdowns in 7 of 14 games this year as well. And they've also scored 24 or more points in 6 games this year. They are getting a lot of their weapons fully healthy now, which will help them. Aaron Rodgers has really struggled for consistency in terms of who he's getting the ball to. Christian Watson has been the main guy who has emerged that way. But with a lot more guys healthy, that will definitely help them. On the other side, the Dolphins have hit the over in 7 of 14 games as well, but they've hit the over in 5 of their last 7, and they've also averaged 24.6 points per game this season. They have scored 29 points or more in 6 games, however, which is a pretty impressive statistic for them. Not really a team at the start of the year that people thought would score a lot of points, but with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, the stacked receiving core, Tua's really been able to distribute the ball well. They actually are second in the league in passing yards per game at 288.4, but their defense does allow 24.6 points per game. So between the Packers defense and the Dolphins defense, there's a chance for a lot of points to be scored by these two offenses, and that is why this week we are taking the over. The second game we're going to look at this week is the Broncos versus the Rams. The line for this game has been set at 36.5, and on that line we are taking the under. This is one of the lower lines that we've seen recently, and oddly enough, we're still taking the under due to how underperforming both of these teams have been this year. The Broncos, who are having anything but a smooth ride, have actually hit the under in 11 of 14 games this year and have scored 1 touchdown or less in 10 total games. They only average 15.6 points per game, and they are 23rd in the league in rushing yards and 19th in passing yards. Russell Wilson sat last week due to some injury concerns with the team being cautious. Honestly, whether he starts or not, that's not going to make a huge difference. If you're like me, you find random things on, social media, and Russell Wilson actually only has 11 passing touchdowns this year, which is still less than the total number of bathrooms that he has in his house. So, he has a couple weeks left to try and get over that total, but that has been an interesting TikTok story that I have followed. The Rams have hit the under in 9 of 14 games this year, including 3 of their last 4. They have struggled with injuries, whether it's to Matt Stafford or their receiving core. Their offensive line has been essentially atrocious. The defending Super Bowl champs have looked anything but like the defending champs. Outside of that, with Baker Mayfield, yeah, he's been a starting quarterback before, but he's not necessarily known as a prolific option that you want to score a lot of points. So between injuries, and just both of these teams underperforming throughout this season and having a combined 20 games where they've hit the under, that is why we are taking the under this week. And last but certainly not least, we are going to look at the Buccaneers versus the Cardinals. The line for this one has been set at 41, and on that line we are taking the under. The Buccaneers have hit the under in 10 of 14 games this year, including 4 of their last 6. They've also scored 2 touchdowns or less in 11 of their games this year, which is very uncommon of a Tom Brady-led offense. But this team, between injuries and just underperforming, has been anything but a dominant offense, to say the least. They have scored 21 or less in 11 games this year. Tom Brady has had to shoulder a lot throughout this season in terms of even getting them to where they are at. Thankfully for them, they do play in the NFC South, so their playoff hopes are still alive. But the holes on the offense have really, really led to an underperformance, so to speak, this year. And it's going to be tough for them to change that on the road this week. The Cardinals have hit the under 5 times this year, and they've scored 2 touchdowns or less 6 times. They're really struggling in terms of scoring with 21 points or less in 8 of their 14 games. And we actually do not see that changing this week, despite, the viral sensation Trace McSorley, who, if you've ever seen the TikTok song, he's a pretty big deal in that realm, but not necessarily something that we predict will be helpful to the Cardinals to put up a lot of points this week, as he is their third string option. So, with both of these teams kind of struggling to score, one team being down to their third string quarterback, we don't see a lot of points coming out of this game, and that is why we are taking the under. And that concludes our Week 16 free premium picks. Thank you so much for stopping in and watching. If you're on YouTube, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Remember, you can also find us on Facebook, TikTok, Reddit, Instagram, and Twitter. Be sure to head over to parlaybuddy.com, where you can find the profitability calculator, daily fantasy sports tools powered by statshark.com, and other various sports articles. And from our family to yours at Parlay Buddy, have a happy holidays.